Hey guys! So in today's video, we are going to talk about increasing your credit score so you are ready for property investment. Now, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to have good credit? What's the point of it, right? Well, good credit is fantastic. And I mean, you need it if you want to be able to obtain loans, if you want to use finance, or if you generally want to get things out on credit. That means getting things out when you don't have the money yet to do so you can get this out on credit and then pay it off over a period of time, whether it be years, months, whatever. Now, with good credit, you will have access to so much more better rates, better interest rates in terms of them being lower. So rather than if you had to go and get out £100 and you've got bad credit and Bob has to get out £100 and he's got good credit, Bob's going to get better terms. So that means he might be able to pay back everything without any fees. He might be able to borrow that £100 and only have to pay £5, whereas you might have to borrow that £100 and have to pay £10 on top of it back when you're paying it all back. So you want to set yourself up so when you go for lending, when you go for loans, mortgages, credit cards, you're generally getting the best rates, right? That is why you need some good credit, y'all. Especially if you want to take out car and finance. If you want to take out car and finance, you're going to have some good credit, because if you don't, if that car is £5,000 or £10,000 and you're taking it out on some high APR interest rate, then you will be paying potentially 3/4 of the amount more than the value of the car originally. So you're just spending all this money on the car when you don't have to, when you just completely don't have to. Let's get started in this video where I'm going to tell you what I done to improve my credit. Okay, so when it came to getting a mortgage, I can get a mortgage. Stay tuned for this video and watch until the end. Now, imagine you can get a credit card where you have a free interest period. That means an interest-free period. That means you can take out this money and you actually do not have to spend any money on top. You don't have to pay any money on top of that money when it comes to paying it back. Okay, so say you're borrowed £100, right? For a certain period of time, your interest-free period of time, that £100, when you go to pay it back, all you have to pay back is just that £100. You haven't spent any more money on top for borrowing that money, okay? Whereas generally when you take out some kind of loan or mortgage, you do have to spend just a bit more by paying that money back and then whatever the interest rate would have been. The first thing you want to do is understand where you are right now. Do you have good credit? Do you have bad credit? Because that was the first thing I did. I wanted to know, where's my credit at? I mean, what is it looking at? So I went on something called Check My File. The reason I liked them is because all the different ways in which you'll be assessed when it comes to obtaining credit of some sort, all the unions are on there. So they've got Equifax, they've got Experian, they've got TransUnion and Crediva. Okay, I don't know how to say that one. But they've got that one too. And that's generally the most out of all of them. Like, you don't find any other organizations that have more than that. But that was really good, because then you get a full round picture. Now, not every lender goes to all of them. Depending on whether you want to get a mortgage or you are just taking out a mobile phone, a new mobile phone line. A mobile phone line would still run a credit check on you just like a mortgage provider would, but they would be checking with different agencies. So it may be, one may be using Experian, one may be using Equifax. So it does depend. When you are using a platform to see what your credit is, just to see what agencies do they have on there and are they the most popular agencies? Because if it's for agency and it's for non-existing agencies, then it's pointless. So you want Equifax is good, Experian is good, get the main ones on there. I wanted to see the positive and the negative impacts that I've had, whatever I've done in the past, what impacts it's had on my credit profile. And that will show you that. In fact, when I logged in, I saw these square boxes. So I literally had a row of 12 boxes from January to December, and they're all green. Fortunately, all mine were green, but I could see it when I look a bit lower, like a few years down. I could see, like in my 20s or something, I had an orange box. I had some orange boxes in there from late phone bills or a late gas bill or something like that. And when it's late, it's actually registered against your credit profile. So if you're late on your phone bill and people just think, oh, I'm just late, I'll just sort it out. No, it's actually going as a strike against your credit, and they know that. So now when it comes to taking out some form of line of credit, like couches on credit, beds on credit, TVs on credit. If you're going to go do all of that, these people will go and look to see what you've done in the past. How do you spend your money? Have you paid back on time? And they will see that, no, you haven't. And if they see that, then they might not lend to you at all. Or they might lend to you and then say, okay, we can see that your credit's not in tip-top shape here. Let's lend, but we are going to charge you an arm and a leg, okay? So when I had a look at my credit, I noticed that it's all right, but it could be better. But there were factors that worked against me naturally, and then there were things that I could have done to improve my credit. Now, one of the first things was to make sure that I was registered on the poll. I was registered to vote, and I was registered to vote, but that if you're not, get registered to vote, because it shows that you're stationary. It shows that you are, in your council, not necessarily you're involved. It's not about being involved and actually voting. It's just a method used to show where you're based, okay? Because some people can move around like the weather, but for some reason, being registered to the local council poll for voting makes you have good credit. One thing that did not work in my favor is my age. Okay, so being in your early 30s and anything younger, it does not necessarily work in your favor because you haven't had a long enough time to really prove who you are, especially if you're new to borrowing credit. But the rest pretty much did work in my favor. So first things first was make sure that I paid every single thing on time, every time, without fail. Now, I was naturally good at that anyway, but it was something just to acknowledge in my mind, make sure I pay everything on time. And the best way to do that is just by setting up direct debits on everything. I made sure I was registered to vote on the poll, the electoral register, and that works in your favor considerably. Any mistakes that I'd noticed on there, I had corrected. Keeping things up to date when you do look at your file, and if you see that, wait, that says I was late and I wasn't late, or if you see there's a registered thing here and it wasn't the case, then you can actually go and make those corrections on your behalf. The next thing I did is lowered my loan to debt ratio. So I had access to credit cards. It was quite a new thing for me, getting credit cards, all in aid of getting property. Although you're given a £1,500 credit card to use, I used up about 1,400 of that. So that means you're in the red. You've used up most of what lending you have, what money you have access to. So they see that as you're pretty much in a risky place. So in order to get out of that risky place, you needed to be below 70. So I got myself immediately to below 70 as soon as I discovered that I needed to do that in order to look good to creditors. So being less than 70% of what money you have access to. As I said before, I got a credit card. Now, of course, I've just spoken about loan to debt ratio. So obviously I was paying down my, what access I had to my credit card. Before then, when I never had a credit card, when I got a credit card, I saw the difference that it had as I had been paying small payments on there and paying them off. So just that habit of paying it and paying it off, paying it and paying off, just doing that whole repetition. Credit, so, oh wow, whenever she borrows money, she pays it off straight away. This is good. This is excellent. And then she doesn't use everything. She just is, she uses just a little bit of what she gets. That's good. That means she's not desperate. That means she's in a good financial position, that she doesn't need all this money. And you've got to imagine, they know that their interest rates are high. I mean, their interest rates are considerably high. So if you are borrowing all this money on considerably high interest rates, then that's not really a sound, sensible financial decision. So they're looking at the fact that you're doing that and you're not making a strong, sound financial decision, and it goes against you. So those are things that you've got to take into consideration when you are, taking out a credit card, that you set it up on the direct debit, but take one out nonetheless, and then make small payments, maybe your takeaways, maybe your coffee, maybe your petrol, maybe your food shopping, and then pay it off the very, very next month by having it set up in that way that is paid off directly. Upon finishing this process and just letting a bit of time go by, it's in a better position. And it does take time. It doesn't happen overnight. And I think it's about growth. You can't watch anyone else's journey. You just have to be on your own, know where you're going, know what you want, remember why you're doing this, and just take the steps and follow the process. And that is so, so key. So I hope you'd enjoyed hearing this story about how I improved my credit to set me up for investing in property. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell if this video spoke to you, because it's about entrepreneurs and making that money. You take care. I'll see you in another video. Bye.